Hi, this is Hank. I'm at it again. This is my 5th large dry pour concrete project. If you count the slab we're looking at there in the background, it's 3 separate projects. The front sidewalk I did the other day, and now this back sidewalk. This walk is 33 feet long, 2.5 feet wide. It's going to take me 49 80-pound bags of concrete to do this dry pour project. So, getting started, first thing I have to do is excavate out, have all these pavers, which took a while to get out. These were installed correctly. I mean, they was dug down deep, and they had the base, the sand, and then there was the material underneath the sand to keep the grass from growing up. But as you can see, the grass doesn't have to grow up from the bottom. Grass seeds float in, get in the sand, and there they are. So that's the issue with paver projects. You're always going to get grass. So here you can see I've laid the 2x4s out flat just to get the general direction of where the walk's going. So kind of getting an idea of what I'm going to do. You can see also I went ahead and excavated around my dry pour slab there in the back. Got the dirt up on the sides better. I did have kind of a hump here on this high side coming down, and then I had a drop off on the low side of the slab. So I've got that excavated in fairly well. I'll get some grass going there soon. So here I've got the 2x4s laid out. This is the way it's going to go. What I did here, I decided 30 inches is the width I want this walk. So cut a template, 30-inch 2x4 there. That way I don't have to keep measuring. Yeah, anytime you can reduce your work by making a template, that's always a good idea. So now I'll just butt my 2x4s up against that 30-inch piece there, drive my stakes in, and it should be fairly consistent. Now I am going to flare out on the ends. I want the slab to be as wide as the step coming off the deck there, and then I'll taper down to the 30 inches. And the same thing on the slab, I'll flare out a little bit just to give it a little bit of a look, so you're not stepping on a 30-inch wide piece of sidewalk. It'll just have a little taper on it. So here, where the forms are determines how the sidewalk meets up to the step. So I want to be even across that step, maybe slightly downhill. Downhill is toward the top of your screen. And then I want to slope away from the house. Always go away from your buildings. Then the rest of the walk, I will try to keep the natural grade sloping off to the left of the screen there. So now the work begins. So unloading some of the bags, just throwing them out there, and using the Quikrete brand again. Quikrete has been my lucky brand. I didn't have any good luck with the Mastercraft brand. That's the only 2 I've tried. So I'm sticking with what I know. And right here, 1 bag off the same pallet, lighter color. I don't know if you can see that. This 1 bag it's a light sandy color. Weird. I don't know if it's going to cause any trouble or not, but just wanted to point that out. Right there is a different color of mix. So now I'm going to talk about my screeding tool. A lot of people ask questions about this. It's 3 2x4s screwed together right through the plate on the sander. 3-inch deck screw. I tapered both leading and trailing edges of the bottom 2x4, and that helps compact down the mix as it goes. What this does for me is it does all the vibrating, so I don't have to do any side-to-side shaking while I'm screeding. And here I'll show you a little bit how this is working. You can see it's running there. I've already gone over this piece once. I'm just going back and touching up a couple of spots that I didn't like, and that's the beauty here. You can just keep going back as many times as you want until you get the finish that you like. But you could do this with the 2x4, definitely could. Just up on edge, saw it back and forth. Do more sawing than you do pulling. If you straight pull it, all your rocks will stay up on top. The sawing motion somehow causes those rocks and the other aggregate to go down below the surface and just leave the powder up top. So, like I said, this little tool does that for me. It's helped me out tremendously. I wouldn't want to do it without this, especially by myself. So anyway, important notes: keep your forms clean. If your screeding tool rides up on your forms, you'll have it'll show out in the middle. Just keep the pebbles and things off your forms. Move slow. Do a lot of the sawing if you don't have an automatic tool. and just keep going back till you're happy with it. A little bit of this. I'm going to go ahead and speed up now. You don't need to watch me screed this whole 33 feet here in slow motion. That was actual speed there in the beginning. Now I'm like at 10x, I think. So, and we'll show a little bit of this, and then we'll move on. Here I have a different angle further down. See those? What I do when I first get bags dumped, I just kind of drag that tool down fast and get roughed in basically. Then I clean off my forms, and then I come down slow. This is a 10x speed. I'm actually coming down a lot slower than this, and just keep going back. Just if you have any areas where there's divots or not filled in good, just keep going back. Just keep throwing more mix up there in front of your tool, and just keep going over it till you like it. There's no pressure. There's no time limit here. You can take as long as you want, and it's really not physically hard. The hardest thing's dragging that 80-pound bag off the back of the truck, which if you park close like I did there, just use your legs and don't hurt yourself. Just drag it off there, drop it, cut it open, pull the paper away from the concrete. This is the beauty of the dry pour, is anyone can do it. Anyone that can lift an 80-pound bag off the back of the truck can do it. We'll say it like that. If you have help, then you definitely can do it. So it's just patience, follow the recipe, get it all. You're not going to improve the looks much from what the screeding tool leaves. What we will do after we get done screeding, we'll edge it, of course, and then we'll roll the paint roller on there, and that blends the top surface a little bit, but if there's any big bumps, they'll still be there. So now I'm going down with the edger. A lot of people ask, why don't you just edge it and leave the edge on there? It's really difficult with dry pour. The edge mark usually does not look consistent. What it does do a nice job of, though, is just rounding off the corners. So now I'm going over it with the paint roller and just blending everything in, and that's going to be the final look. The only thing that can happen here is if I water too quickly, overwater and wash some of the powder down, it would show more aggregate. But as you can see here, it looks pretty good. It looks as good as any public sidewalk you'd see. So there it is. It's all edged and rolled and ready to water. Now when you water, you have to use that mist setting. You can't use a light spray. The mist, what that does for you is it keeps the powder on top. If you get it too wet here, your powder can get washed away and you'll have an exposed aggregate look, maybe even a sandy feel to your finish. So you want to kind of lock in that top layer. So just as soon as it changes color, move on, and that helps lock in that top. So now I'm doing the first watering or misting. I'll go down through and get that all done. Now what I did on this one, I did 3 or 4 mistings. We'll see as the video develops here. 3 or 4 mistings, and then I watered heavily. Here's the second misting. I didn't let it completely dry this time. I just let it get soaked in a little. My goal, I was trying to get more of the top layer, a thicker top layer, basically, of crust. So I let it dry, about 60%, and then I'm hitting it again with the mist. Still, you don't want to over mist. The surface finish is very delicate at this point. I think this was about, probably 15 minutes later. It was a good sunny day, so it took about 15 minutes to kind of soak up. Then I hit it with a second mist. Going down, here I am, third misting. You can see again, I didn't let it get totally dry. Feeling it, it's a little bit spongy. You can see there I made a little crack when I pushed a crack through that top layer. It's only about an 1/8 inch thick and really spongy. So go ahead and mist again. Third misting. Fourth, I did 3 mists, then the fourth one was a shower. Okay, here's the fourth watering, which is a shower. I think I rushed this a little bit. You can see I'm still pretty wet from the third misting. When I shower, my crust is not really solid. And you'll see I'm going to get a little blister here. I got a blister on my front walk, and I got one on this one. I didn't get any blisters on my slabs. So I think what I did was watered too soon. Didn't let the top crust get solid enough. I think the 3 mistings was a good idea, but I should have waited a little longer. You see that blister grow there? It's not that big of a deal. I push it back down. It shows a little bit on the final product, but it still looks pretty good. So the only blemish in the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish watering up here. Okay, now 2 days later, taking off the forms, taking out the screws out of my stakes. I always use screws so I can reuse things. These forms I used on every project so far. I'm going to get rid of them after this project. But yeah, if you use screws, you can reuse things. You can see the blister maybe right there by that second stake. But once it dries dry, you'll see it doesn't show hardly at all. So I want to show here the edge. Looks to me like that is pretty solid all the way down. Nice smooth edge. If this was an edge it showed, and you see where I'd use the edging tool, I have a nice rounded top corner. The little fragments there will brush away. So there's the finished product right there, all excavated up. Looks really good. Only thing left is to put some saw cuts every 6 or 8 feet to control any breakage we might get. That sidewalk is going to be there for a really long time. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, share, and we'll see you next time on How That Works with Hank Ball.